Hello everybody. Today I'm going to talk to you about boat building. We're going to have our morning coffee chat. We'll be a talking head today. So I'm going to try and make it short. I don't want to talk too long. But I want to talk to you about all of you guys that want to make this dream come true. Getting out there on your own boat and doing it. I'm going to tell you how to do it the cheap way, the good way, the high way, the low way, and all that stuff. So basically, today is August 26, 2023, in case you wonder what the date is. And I've been building boats. Well, I started in the boat business back in 1973 as a kid and worked for different boat companies. I rigged boats, built the fiberglass hulls. I also did the interiors, and I went from power boats to sailboats. Done a lot of sailing. I've done a lot of power boating. So that's my experience. And I've done it on other people's dime and on my dime. In other words, I've spent my own money and other people's money. So I see a lot of YouTube channels out and stuff out there about people building boats and talking about this and talking about that and their experiences. Some of it's real, some of it's not. Most of it, it's a mixture. The other thing is, I've got a couple of pictures of some boats that I've gutted completely, sailboats, right to the hull. Absolutely nothing up but the hull, built up interiors. You can look at it under my name, Gene Mondu, Building a Pocket Cruiser. It's a blog, it's not a YouTube video. And it talks about it and it shows the before and after pictures if you want to see that. Of course, you can always go look on my YouTube channel, what you're doing right now. And it tells you a little bit of everything about that industry. So let's get started. By the way, I'm still in Santa Rosalia. It's a beautiful morning. A nice warm breeze. Hurricane came and went. It's 5 days after the hurricane and all is well here. The town recovered quickly and there was no damage. You can see those are my neighbors back there, different boaters that come and go back there. So let me start off first. Let's get started. Boat size. Boat size is important. I would suggest for all of you guys that want to start into this lifestyle, what I see very often is a lot of people start with a big boat. They got these big dreams, they want to do these big things, and they get these big items. Now remember, big means big dollars, big work, big problems. Everything is magnified. Back in the day when I used to go four-wheeling, I had a little Jeep. I used to love those big expedition trucks, and I used to ask those guys about those trucks. And they'd say, yeah, these get stuck too, they just get big stuck. And I realized, bigger isn't always better. Same thing applies to boats. I've had small boats and large boats. Right now I'm on a 50-foot Linois. It's a beautiful, beautiful boat. I bought it as a project boat, put a lot of money and almost 2 years of time into it. It's ready to go. It's actually perfect, but that's a lot of work. So I would suggest that you start with a small boat. Now, we'll get to whether it's power or sail in a minute, but the premises are the same. I would start with a small trailerable boat, something you can take and put in your backyard so that you can work on it easily. Now, if you're going to get a boat that needs a lot of work, that's fine. But remember, whether it's a boat that's completely trashed and it has a good hull, you always want to make sure that the bones, the hull, are good. You're going to spend roughly about the same amount of money, and in the end you may not make any money or you'll have the same value of boat. So for example, let's say you want a little micro trawler, so you get a little sea dory or something like that, or maybe just fill in the blank. You get a power boat that's got a good hull, a good form plan. You can take that thing, strip it, take all the garbage off, all the old electronics, all the old items, even the motor, and then put in what you want. You'll spend X amount of dollars. What you will usually spend, if it's smaller, you'll spend less, $10,000 to $20,000. But you'll have a $10,000 to $20,000 boat when you're done that doesn't need anything. Or you can go out and spend $10,000 to $20,000 on a boat that's already there and maybe make a few repairs and save the time. But the reason I say start small with a trailer boat is because you can take it and go different places. You can park it at home and you don't have to incur the expenses of a big marina and all that stuff. These are for people that are still working. You're watching these YouTube channels like myself back in the day, and you want to have these little adventures. So you take your vacations every year and you go. With a small trailerable boat and a good vehicle to tow it with, you can take all these trips to all these places and get your feet wet and get a good feeling for what you will or won't need. Remember, I'm going to say that twice. Once you get in the water, you realize what you do and don't need. Case in point, I've got a 21-foot Sweet Pea, which you've seen in my earlier videos on my YouTube channel. It's a little 21-foot Aquarius sailboat. It's a great boat. I completely gutted it. There's a video how I gutted it and refixed it and I put everything in it. On that note, let me deter here for a little bit. If you're getting an old boat to fix, by the way, it's it's easier and faster to completely gut it most times. I would probably say almost all the times, because it takes less work and less time to rebuild from scratch, like building your cabinets and building the walls and everything, than it does to sand and grind and paint the old one. That being said, on Sweet Pea I gutted it, rebuilt it. I got about $15,000 into that little sailboat with all new stuff, new interior and everything. Boat's only worth, I probably couldn't get more than $3,000 to $4,000 for it, because that's all it's worth. It's a 21-foot sailboat. It doesn't have a lot of value. But I built it the way I wanted it because I wanted to do specific things with it. So the dollars spent served my purpose. I look at it as, did it serve the purpose? So was it a lot of money? Yes. Was it worth it? No. Was it worth it in the sense that I got what I wanted to do out of the boat? Yes. So I built the boat to perform a specific function for me for all of those years, and I've been using it for 6 years. And in that sense, the money was well spent. But as far as any value in the boat, no, you're not going to get it out of it. But the boat, everything's new and everything works. That being said, any boat you pick that you're going to do, pick it small so you can work at it at home, do your projects, decide if you're going to get one that's ready to go and just use it, or one that is you're going to work on. Some people get pleasure out of tinkering and doing their own stuff. I used to. I'm 66 years old now. I don't find much pleasure in working on boats anymore. As a matter of fact, all of my people even my Patreons that I send money to, that whenever they embark on a boat building project, I'm done with those videos till they're done with the building portion of the videos. Not to say a lot of people don't like to watch that. I'm making here a video of building boats. But the fact is that I would rather be out there on the water. And that's what most people want to do also. That's your dream. So, boat size, I would start small. When I say small, 20 to 25 footer. After 25 feet, towing one around is pretty hard to tow. So that's the boat size. Fine with a good hull. As far as the engines go, my personal preference is I don't want to deal with motors that don't start on the weekend when I'm a working man and I don't have a lot of free time to go out there and play around. So I always pull out the motors and prefer outboards as much as possible. I don't like all the through holes, the shafts, the wiring, the exhaust pipes, all of that stuff. I get rid of it all. But with today's outboards, are absolutely fantastic, economical, and they're just great motors. They're great. Your biggest expense is going to be your motor, and by the way, that's what adds the value to your boat. The boat itself and all the money you put into it will have some, but the biggest value of your boat when you go to resell it or get rid of it or upgrade or you decide you don't like this life, whatever it is in the motor. So I tend to buy brand new motors. I bite the bullet, spend it, because I want it. When I turn that key, I want that thing to start and I want to go. And that's what I do. So go small, go with a new motor. And by the way, as far as electronics, you need a really good depth finder. That's it. Now, you can get all kinds of stuff, all this electronics if you're a fisherman and if you like tinkering. My brother's a pilot for American Airlines, and he did that for 30, 40 years. He's retired now. He loves gadgets, radars, and all that stuff. You can get everything on your iPhone. My girlfriend and I have sailed halfway around the world with the iPad and the iPhone and Navionics. Works. You don't need all this new stuff. When I bought this boat, I gutted all that crap. I did put a new Garmin system on this thing because the autopilot didn't work and I needed to get it anyway. So in that case, I did it. But otherwise, everything is still done with the Garmin and the Navionics, and that's it. So go small, go now. You won't spend lots of times working on it. You'll only get what you put into the boat and probably less. So if you buy new, here's the other argument. If you buy a new boat, It'll hold its value a little bit longer. If you buy it right, you can probably get what you put into the boat. I've introduced other people into boating. If you look up, I used to be a philanthropist. I used to give away free boats. If you look up The Enabler on Google, under my name, G. Mondo, somebody put a post up there that says, get your free boat here. I've given away 6 boats. I don't do it anymore. Someone posted once on my blog and I left it there. It says, I'm not doing it. They call me the angel of death, or they call me the angel of giving, because I'm putting people in boats they're unqualified for and sending them to their death. And others say I'm making people's dreams come true. Whatever. I don't watch that stuff. But the point is, all of the boats that I gave away, this one guy wrote a little commentary. He said, if people can't afford the entry level price of a boat, they certainly cannot afford the maintenance of the boat. And that person was absolutely right. So I left that blog up. Of the 6 boats, only 1 was actually fixed and completed and sailed around. All the other people, just like the guy said, could never afford the maintenance, the upkeep, the whatever it took, and the boats ended up either sunk, abandoned, or something like that. So I learned from that. All right, so that's new use. If you buy new, and you buy a nice boat, and you're going to do this for 3 to 5 years, I would buy new, or close to new as possible. Make that payment each month. Just make sure your finances are able so you can make that payment. I worked for the government for 20 years. I got a pension, so it's easy for me to have an income coming in every month. Other people have property rentals. Those are the retirees. If you're still a working man, then you've got your steady income. Buy new, use the boat, take your vacations. Because when you go to sell it, you'll get the bulk of your money back out of it without a problem. My brother, again, case in point, he doesn't do much tinkering. He buys newer boats. He'll spend $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 on a boat, but he uses it and he'll sell it for 40, 50, or 60 when he's done. You know, the valuation has already gone there. So that's what I would recommend if you're not sure and you want to try something to begin with. But if you have a lot of time on your hands and you don't mind doing a lot of hard work, remember, you're not going to make any money. You're just going to burn a lot of time building the boats. Okay, so that's new or used. Next, I gotta look at my notes here. Hold on a second. Power or sail? Now, I would suggest, now that I've been doing this a long time, I've been sailing most of my life, but I've also had power boats for a weekend running around and fishing and bass fishing and things like this. I do love fishing a lot. In the end, I found out that unless you're going to cross an ocean, you don't really need sail. Sail is fun. I love it. It's peaceful. It's quiet. It's its own world. But if you're going to retire and you want to live on the boat and you want to spend time on it traveling around, I would go power this time. I did the math on our sailboat, on the variety of sailboats that I've had over the last 5 years. I've been doing this full time for a little over 5 years now. We've traveled roughly between 20 and 25,000 miles ish by sail, and most of the time we've been using the motor because the wind dies down, the boat goes under 2 knots, and I'm not a purist. If it's not doing 4 knots or above, I turn the motor on motor sail. But I did the math. This boat here is it's a 50-foot Lindwall. It holds 1,500 gallons of fuel. It's got 2 Lehman Ford engines, 120 horsepower each. Each engine burns 1.5 gallons per hour, so I'm burning 3 gallons an hour. I did the math, divided the 20,000 miles over the last 5 years and the price per gallon of what it would have cost me. And in the end, had I powered the entire distance that I went, I didn't cross any oceans on some of those trips, made some crossings, but we're going on the presumption here that you're not going to cross an ocean. If I had to do the entire trip over, Pacific Seaboard, Pacific Northwest, Alaska, Caribbean, it would have cost me roughly about $600 a month fuel costs for this boat for the entire 5 years. That's what it would have averaged out to. I would have had a lot more space, a lot more comfort, a lot less work for me. Now, if you love pulling ropes, throwing up sails, and dealing with all that, hey, that's it. I did, can't say I didn't, and I loved it. But anymore, I love going up there, turning the key, looking out the window, setting my autopilot, having my coffee. I could be doing this underway with you guys right now, and it would actually be awesome. I could be sitting back here fishing, looking out the window. On power boats, trawlers, and things like that, you're sitting up high, you've got a living room, you're walking in from one room into another, like a house. You know, you're looking out windows, you can see around. It's like a floating home. So as far as cost, people think, oh my God, how much fuel are you burning? Yeah, filling up 1,500 gallons of fuel initially is a big expense. I filled this boat up, I don't know, 6-8 months ago. It's still half full. The truth is, you'll go somewhere and you stop and you stay. And when you're on a larger boat, trawler, you tend to stay longer because you got a home, you got refrigerators. You don't feel like you got to keep moving. On a sailboat, I feel smaller. You get out, you tend to go ashore a lot more on the smaller boats. On the bigger ones, you tend to stay on your boat because you're in a floating condo. So that being said, we're up to the big boat again. When it comes to trawlers, if you're going to get a power boat, two types. There's the speedboats and the power boats. If you're a working man, you got a family, I would get the speedboat. And like the Sea Dories is one example where they can make these great little micro pocket cruisers because they have a little cabin, a little place to sleep, a little place to have your coffee in the morning when the weather's lousy outside. And that's really, really important. You want to be able to make your coffee. On my Sweet Pete videos, you can see me cooking outside in the cockpit. That's fine. But some days it's miserable outside. I'm tired. It's cold. It's hot. Whatever it may be. I just want to get up, put a little coffee on the pot, and have my coffee in the morning. So you want something that you can do that at least inside the boat so that you can be comfortable when it's, you know, cold and rainy outside and enjoy the morning. On the speedboats, you don't have to worry about tides, shores, shallow water because they only draft a foot of water or something like that, maybe a foot and a half. So like when we were in the Pacific Northwest and the currents were running at 4 to 5 knots sometimes, with the speedboat you can just zip in and zip out, no big deal. If you get a trawler, you have to watch the tides and everything slows down. So that's a different type of boating. That's for another video. But basically, speedboats, small, on a trailer. If you're young with a family, go out and enjoy it, have a good time. If you like sailing and you're not going to go far, that's fine too. Get a sailboat. I personally like the ones with retractable keels because they sit on the trailer, they sit lower, they're easier to tow, they're easier to launch, and everything's easier about them. Ones with keels are fine too, but that's my preference, is I like the shallow water. So that's versus sail versus power. In the end, I would have gone power if I'm not going to cross an ocean. Now, if you want to sail to Hawaii, Tuamotus, Southern Seas, you have to have a sailboat. This boat, yes, will make, 3,800 miles, but why would I spend $1,500 on fuel? Not $1,500, 1,500 gallons, times $5 a gallon, 1534. That's $7,000 just to go to Hawaii, when I can jump on a plane and be there in 6 hours for $400. Doesn't make sense. Now, if I was going to live in Hawaii, sure, but I'm not. I'm on my boat cruising, so that's that. That's pretty much the bulk of it, what I wanted to say. So, honestly, in conclusion, if you're a working man with a family, get a small boat, get a power boat, go race around and enjoy all the camping. There's lots of videos on all of this. If you really love sailing and you don't want to go any place far, you're not going to be taking, you're just going out on the weekends and stuff like that, get a little trailer sailor you can take out. If you're going to get a boat that goes in the marina, that's fine. It is convenient. You just go down to the boat. The bigger the boat, the bigger the expense, the bigger the work. So get a basic boat. 27 feet or less is a good sized sailboat. You can do a lot. They got a little cabin. You can go places. Your local lakes are a lot of fun. Dreaming about the trip you're going to take is fun. Just putting on the lakes. For before I did this, my boat was on my Carmela, my Cal 227 was in Milton Lake, California, and I always spent all weekends on the lake dreaming about the day I could put it in the ocean. And that day did come, and I did put it in the ocean and started taking bigger trips. But the point was, when I was on my boat in the lake, it was really, really nice. Nothing breaks, fresh water. Nothing gets worked hard. But I would urge you to, yes, get a boat, go small, buy as new as possible in the beginning to see if you like the whole thing. And then if you decide it's something for you, then decide any boat you build, make sure that, a lot of traffic up there, any boat you're going to build, I have to say this to you as the most important thing, make sure it's a boat that you don't mind being stuck with. Because the probability of you turning around and turning that into money is extremely low, if any. But every boat I've ever built, and there's been quite a few, I built the boat knowing that I like this boat and I'm going to put money into it because I like it. The only thing I would have done different is I would have looked for the long-term game. If I was close to retirement, by close I say within 5 years, I probably would have bought a boat, one boat that I could have fixed up and just kept it rather than build, sell at a little bit of a loss, build again, sell at another loss, and spent all these years working on these boats where instead I could have been out there putting around. So that's it. Have a good day, guys. I'm glad you're watching my channel. I'll be in Mexico for about another 6 months. Then I'm heading back to Sweet Pea and I'm going to do some more trailer sailing. I love my little trailer sailor. Right now it's in Virginia. And I'm going to take it cross country. I'm going to get a little van and tow my little boat across and go different lakes and things like that. Those trailer sailors and trailer boaters, it's great, man. You have from the west coast to the east coast, you don't have to go through the Panama Canal. They're a lot of fun. They're small. When you're done, you put them in your backyard, your home, pay for, marina fees and things like that. The bottom's always clean. There's something to be said about trailer sailors. Huge. It's kind of like small living. A lot of people are going into the trailer sailors and trailer trawlers and things like that. So I would encourage you to follow that movement. And by the way, as far as the price of boats, guys, there's a lot of boat owners out there that are in love with their boat, and for them to sell their boat would be like, in a politically incorrect statement, renting out their wives or girlfriends. They want too much money. that didn't come out right, but you kind of get the idea. They're in love with their boat and they want so much money for these boats. There's not that value in those boats. I see these ads all the time. These boats, $80, $90, $100, $120,000. This boat, I saw it advertised for $290,000. Holy crap. I wouldn't spend that on this boat. I didn't spend that on the boat. I fixed it up. It was a project boat. And on this particular boat, I'm going to make money. But honestly, once you get into the $50,000 to $60,000 range, there are a lot of really good used boats out there. A lot of them. If you're going to get real new, the market's outrageous. Now, you'll get most of that back. That is true. But if you want to get started in this country, in this game, you can do it for under $30,000 if you're able to work on a boat a little bit and do some of the own maintenance. But remember, simplicity is the key. Get the most simplest boat you can get. And that's why I like the smaller boats, because you can throw that old piece of junk motor out, take all that old electronics out, put new stuff in it, like an outboard, and enjoy the weekends. Excuse me. And with that, I'm going to go have the rest of my breakfast and enjoy the morning. This is my only talking head video I think that I've made. I usually like showing stuff. So good luck. You can put questions to me. I do answer. I don't have a big following. I think I only have like 400 subscribers. I don't advertise. I don't do this for money. I just do it just to promote the boating lifestyle to people who are interested, and friends and followers. So send me a message. I do respond to all my messages. Not a lot to have to respond to. Sometimes it takes a day. Other than that, keep sailing, keep boating, have fun, guys. Peace out, all that good stuff. And I'll talk to you again.